It's time to break the cycle of waste and mess. Time to stop accepting that the way things have been done are the way they should be done. Control-Alt-Delete everything you thought you knew about how to period. We're flipping the script, we're throwing out the book, we're challenging the period status quo. The Diva Cup is eco-friendly, reusable, and offers up to 12 hours leak-free protection. So what are you waiting for? Join the inner revolution with the Diva Cup. The Diva Cup is used for menstrual flow only. Always read and follow the user guide.
Hello, Wildcats. It's your boy Kev coming at you like a pay cut down to $4 if you were an employee at Sonic. Just here to let you know that we are a comedy and crime podcast. So even though we do cover many serious cases and true events, we do like to throw in some dark humor and inappropriate jokes every now and then. So if you are easily offended or you don't like to mix comedy with crime, you probably won't be a big fan of this podcast. And also a special disclaimer for this episode. A couple of us were sick whenever we recorded this, so you're going to hear some sniffles every now and then. I try to edit most of them out. So it was either skip this week or record with a couple of sniffles every now and then. So unlike the pay at Sonic, it is better than nothing. So, I just want to say thank you to everyone that has also left us reviews and been reaching out to us and been super kind. You guys and gals have been amazing. And yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Be good, stay safe, and laugh at the dark stuff. Hashtag Wildman. Hashtag, hey, what's faster, Sonic the Hedgehog or all the employees at Sonic that are fucking leaving because they cut their pay price to $4, you jerks.
All right, fellas, like we practiced.
Yeah. 2, 3, 4.
Come on down, hanging with the brothers tonight, yeah. Come on down to the Brothers Commonplace tonight.
Alrighty, welcome everyone to the Brothers Commonplace, a comedy and crime podcast where we cover monsters, murders, mysteries, and more. And today we got a pretty good one for you. But before we jump into that, I want y'all to meet my cool little Jello cups.
Ooh, I like that. What's going on, guys? This is Tim, and kind of just didn't have a really good day. I went to the YMCA and was taking some swimming lessons. I've never been really good at swimming, and it sucked because at first I had to like change in front of everybody, so they saw that I have a baby dick. Then I'm swimming in front of everybody, and they saw I just suck at swimming. So by the end of the day, they were calling me Natalie Smallwood. Natalie Wood was a lady that drowned.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Spence. I had half of an opening. I just need the other half. It's the second half that I have. And I'm missing the first half. That's the problem. I guess I'm going to have to go opening-less for now.
And it's your boy Kev, a.k.a. The Dirty Dog, and I also don't have an opener, but I do have a little ad we're going to play here for you. So hopefully everyone won't skip this. It's only a couple seconds, and it's going to get us like thousands of dollars. So we're going to play that real quick.
Tonight, on a season premiere of 24 on Fox, we gotta get that fucking bomb!
Alright, we're back. Where's that fucking bomb at? Someone get the fucking bomb! Alright, we're back again. We played 2 ads.
Yeah, nice.
So
Can't wait to see what Kiefer does, man.
yeah, dude. So this week, well, actually last week, we stuck pretty close to home. But now it's time for your favorite boys to get on a little road trip.
Ooh.
We're heading to an island.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Not just any island, the island, Rhode Island.
Oh, shit.
So not a real cool island.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. I bet Rhode Island's awesome.
Depends if we're going to Providence. Providence.
Providence. I like you, Mary.
I like you a lot.
Ah, Rhode Island, the state that everyone uses as an example for small things.
It's true.
And also the past tense of Ride Island.
Oh, shit.
So today we will be discussing the murder of Victoria Cushman and the strange case surrounding it.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm sure if Toof was here, he would have made a weed joke.
Probably, yeah.
At the last name Cushman.
Yeah, for sure.
Cush. So I do have a shout out real quick before we start the case. Canadian Chloe, she has just been killing it with reviews, and she's been asking friends of hers to leave us reviews. So thank you very much. Yeah, we've had more reviews this week than we've had like in a very long time.
Damn.
So that was super cool, you guys. Thank you, everyone that's been leaving them. And if you enjoyed the show, leave us them, and hopefully we'll get more, I guess.
Did Canadian Chloe like give out like a bunch of flyers at the mall? That's just the Robin Sparkles joke.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were going to like say, did she drop a bunch of flyers down the stairwell at school?
Oh,
fuck
should
yeah.
have, man. Go to fucking Bogey's party.
Canadian Chloe sounds like that'd be like a sweet wrestling move, like with a lot of flips.
Oh, yeah.
Canadian Destroyer, is that what it something is?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have anything you want to mention before we jump into the case? Let's jump into it. Oh, one more thing. I updated our feed on Stitcher.
Nice.
Which I haven't done since we switched podcast platforms.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, we only got 70 downloads this month on Stitcher, huh? And I looked and saw I haven't changed it since October. So I do want to say thank you. I can't remember who let us know. So, all right, before we jump into the murder case, we're just going to talk a little bit on the city where it all takes place. Warwick, Rhode Island.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool name, Warwick.
Yeah, I like it.
It's also the first name of the guy who played Willow.
It is, yeah.
Oh,
Warwick Davis.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. Hey, key, please. Isn't that him?
I'm pretty sure it's the same
Lamp,
one. Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
If not, there's like an 80% chance that I could name off any character I know who's a little guy, and it's probably him.
Besides Mini-Me, yeah.
Yeah.
Mad Mardigan.
So yes, Warwick, Rhode Island. It is the second largest city in Rhode Island and has a population of 82,672 as of the 2012 census.
That's Warwick, not War Dick. That's when me and Andrew sword fight.
Hey, you want to play War Dicks? And I come in and you're like, sorry, but this is a sword fight, not a dagger fight. I'm like, alrighty, then I'm taking the cat. In Warwick, it is also known as a charming seaside town. And even though it has many people and is the second largest city in the state,
Oh, wow.
in the documentaries I watched, many people refer to it as a small town in a small state. So they refer to it as like, oh yeah, it's a place you know everyone. It's a small town.
Even though it isn't.
But it's like the second biggest city. I mean, I guess in relation to other cities, I guess it might be small.
Yeah. What would be the largest in Rhode Island?
Is it
Yeah, I wonder if it's
Providence?
Providence.
I don't know. That'd be my guess.
I wonder if it's... Yeah, it probably is.
I couldn't tell you another single city in Rhode Island.
Providence.
And this next part, it is taken from warwickhistory.com. And Warwick, it was founded in 1642 by Samuel Gorton when an Indian chief named, I think it's Sachem Miantonomi, that's probably not right.
Yeah.
But they had a treaty and an agreement with a trade of 144 fathoms of wampum, so that's pretty cool, for what was known as the Shawhamut Purchase. And this included the present-day towns of Coventry and West Warwick.
Nice.
And in 1772, Warwick, it was the scene for the very first violent act against the crown when local patriots boarded the British revenue cutter HMS Gaspee. And it was here that the first English blood of the American Revolution was spilled when the commanding officer of the Gaspee, Lieutenant Duddingston, was shot with a musket ball while resisting the taking of his ship. The Patriots then stripped the Gaspee of all cannon and arms before setting her afire.
Hashtag Wildman.
Hashtag Wildman. And that was just taken word for word from Warwick history.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
So.
Yeah. I heard they deflated like everything in there, too.
I was just getting ready to say, dude.
It had to happen.
Dude, I know we mentioned it before. You guys have seen the Tom Brady video, right? It's
The
fucking
kissing?
weird.
Yeah.
Have you seen that, Spence?
We talked about it.
Yeah.
It's
It's fucking weird. He makes him come back and kiss him on the lips again.
He's like, that's just a peck. It's like, well, what else do you
What the
want from your
fuck,
son?
dude?
Like, you want him to fucking French kiss you?
Yeah, I mean, I do. He was a cute boy. I'm joking. That's so fucking weird.
Hey, you're a sexy kid. A fucking
yeah, what is that? Impractical Jokers?
Practical Jokers. Yeah. You're a sexy kid, aren't you?
So as far as some fun, notable people here, John Brown.
What's pimpulating? My name is John Brown, king of the burbs from Davis, California. I choose to move like a king. That's what makes me the king of the burbs.
Do you have thug credentials?
Yo, what's really hood, man? Suburbia. So everybody got their, the Pinot Grigio, their Pinot Noir. You know what I'm saying? Got that couscous. They're talking about them keg parties. You know what I'm talking about? And we're just trying to do the damn thing, baby, for this ghetto revival.
That's just like totally ridiculous.
I'm a player. When it come to the play clock, I'm something like Mookie Blaylock. I'm real Kurt. You play Spock. Ghetto revival, baby. King of the Burbs.
And no, not John Brown, the king of the burbs from the White Rapper Show, so we're not going to continue talking about this one. Nathaniel Greene, Revolutionary War General and second in command of George Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Serial killer Craig Price, who murdered 4 people while he was only between the ages of 13 and 15.
Oh, Jesus. Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, he killed a mother, her 2 daughters, and then 2 years later, he murdered another woman. And he would eventually confess to those murders just after turning the age of 16.
Holy shit.
And yet he is not the subject of today's episode?
No, but I think we're going to cover
may
this.
have to.
We'll cover this dipshit sometime.
So, yeah, dude, we're going to have a lot of Prices Right jokes.
Oh, fuck yeah, we are. And then, most important of all, there was also a man named Matthew Perry.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
But not the Matthew Perry.
Oh, it's not Chandler?
Could I be any more Matthew Perry? So this guy, it's not even worth talking about because this guy, he was only the father of the Steam Navy, they called him, and one of the leading roles in the opening of Japan to the West with the Convention of Kanagawa.
The fuck?
But you know what he didn't do? He didn't star in 236 episodes of Friends.
Yeah, also.
So fucking move on, guy.
Yeah, also the whole 9 and 10 Yards, which are great movies.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. And last but not least, James Woods.
Okay, all right, I'm happy with James Woods.
Which I'm not going to comment on because, I don't know, he sues a lot of people.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, all we have to do is put candy on the floor in the box. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Hey, let's remember this because he's done this twice.
But yeah, he always tries to sue people that talk shit to him on Twitter.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah. I don't really know a whole lot about him.
James, you're not getting much, buddy. Honestly.
So
I might somehow gain money if I got sued.
I know, dude. Oh, you're suing us? What are you going to take? I don't know, this fucking table that I tried to throw away and you guys kept? Tim and Spence's table in this living room is, I had this table in my bedroom when I was younger and I threw it out. And my girlfriend at the time, like, she kept it. Like, she's like, hey, can I have that table? I was like, yeah, sure. I'm just throwing it out because I don't have room for it. And then I played bass at the time, so she painted my bass on it and painted this table, and it's super fucking badass.
Yeah.
And then she brought it back. She's like, hey, look, I made this for you. I painted and stuff. I was like, oh, cool. I fucking threw it out because I didn't have room for it, so now I got to keep it. But no, it is super badass.
It is
and
an
now
awesome table.
It's just funny that Spence and Tim's table in their living room is something my ex-girlfriend made me.
And the only use this gets is the fucking podcast.
I know.
Like, we're never even in here. So good.
So, alrighty, anything before we jump on board this case?
I don't think so. Spence?
So, alrighty, a good chunk of this information will come from the investigation discovery show called Scorned: Love Kills.
Ooh.
And here we go. We start off in the year 1989 with one of our main people in this case, Victoria Cushman.
Nice.
So sometimes they call her Vicky, sometimes they call her Victoria.
Yeah.
As long as you don't call her late for dinner, Tim. Sorry. So she is a girl that was, quote, said to have it all. She was 29 years old. She was slender. She was athletic and beautiful, and was said to be a girl that guys definitely took notice to.
Hashtag Wild Woman.
Hashtag Wild Woman. She's a very friendly girl. So
yeah,
pretty popular.
We run into a lot of those in our murder cases, unfortunately.
I know, it sucks.
Yeah.
We're never like, all right, so this stars a gothic, mean son of a bitch girl who got her throat cut by an ice skate. It's never like that. It's always like, oh, here we go. This girl donated 98% of her check to a charity to help the homeless. She cut off her leg to give to Lieutenant Dan. He only needs one more. Well, she got fucking shot in the brain.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's how it happens.
Now, as far as her job goes, she is a sales clerk at a local scuba shop, or sometimes they call it a ski and sports shop.
Okay.
But yeah, she's almost 30, so she is looking to settle down soon.
Oh, she's single?
Well, Tim, let's see. Let's find out what happens. Unfortunately, Tim, you weren't quick enough because right around this time, she meets a man at the bar by the name of Todd Barry. He is a 30-year-old carpenter, and he was said to be a hard worker and an even harder partier.
Oh.
Yeah. So 3,000 party points I found online is what he had.
Fuck yeah.
Most people don't have that many.
No.
But he does. Todd Barry does. Is Todd Barry the name of one of the Flash?
I was waiting.
Is he a Flash?
It's definitely the name of something.
Yeah.
I was thinking some kind of superhero.
And so Vicky, she sees this guy, and she's like, wow, he's fucking good looking, he's hardworking. So she sees him as somebody that she could be exclusive with, and she's pretty excited about starting a relationship with him. And they go on a date, and things go pretty well.
Ooh.
And it's funny, because in the reenactment on this show, they're like, yeah, they start going on a date. Like, they talk like that.
On a date.
And then they cut to them in, like, they're like in like a storage room or like a super big closet, and they're just fucking dry humping and necking.
Hell yeah.
And that's kind of hot. I'll be honest.
Fuck yeah, dude.
The girl playing her had like she was like a hot crazy. Like she had a super crazy look.
Yeah.
The one that kind of turns you on a little bit.
Yeah. I get that every time I look at Andrew. But so apparently he wasn't the flash in bed, I guess.
Hell no, he wasn't. So yeah, they start getting frisky in all the right ways, which, you know, I heard is pretty fun. And one day I would like to maybe try some of that frisky fun with a girl, you know, outside of my Cub Scout group.
Or my mom.
Or your mom. But, you know, sometimes, Tim, she's pretty good. She's a spicy meatball. I don't know why I said that. That doesn't make any sense. My hand started floating like fucking Travolta from Phenomenon was moving it up, and then I just went into the meatball thing.
Fucking Phenomenon. Holy shit, dude. That's such a bad but good movie.
Yeah, it's I don't like that. I get it, he gets telekinesis, but why can he read books so quick?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of this stuff doesn't really make
I don't
sense,
know.
but it's still a good movie.
That really fucking sucks.
I like it. I really do like that movie.
But yeah, so that reenactment is scene. It's pretty hot. They're getting real nasty, slapping butts and grinding, all that cool stuff.
Oh, that's my spank bank.
And Vicky, she's wanting this relationship to be like an exclusive thing here, but Todd, he sees her as like this free spirit, happy, fun girl. So he's just looking at this whole thing as like a good time with no commitment, like just a bit of fun.
Absolutely.
And she was definitely taking it way more serious than he was wanting to take it. And after a month of dating, or after a month or two of dating, he starts seeing her as being a little bit clingy. Now, I don't know if this is an actual true thing, but in the show, he's at work where he's a carpenter, so he's outside cutting wood and shit, and she shows up at his work, and he's outside, and he gets all pissed off by it, and she's like obviously hurt by this because she showed up to see him, and he's like, you can't come visit me when I'm working, and the two end their relationship there. So I'm sure there's more details of what happened, but that's all they really said was that Todd was finding her to be a little bit too clingy, and he didn't want it to be like super exclusive like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And she was just barging in on this Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go to the polls.
He's like, it's Pokemon Go, not Pokemon Ho. Get out of here. And then he's like, actually, before you go, I am working here. Could you hand me that hoe? I do need that hoe, but I don't know.
Go before hose.
It's my motto, man.
And now Vicky, she's depressed. She's taken the rejection pretty hard. And they said that she hated hearing the word no. And plus, nobody likes to get dumped. That shit sucks.
No.
Especially like when the relationship just started and she was super excited and happy about it, and just kind of this came out of nowhere. So that's no fun at all.
No.
And Vicky, she's down in the dumps. That is until a new customer comes into the scuba shop.
Oh, shit.
A hunk. A guy that definitely works out with the Total Gym.
Ooh.
And or Bowflex.
Vanilla Ice.
He's built and good looking. Total badass. Total #Wildman. Which on Instagram, if you look up #Wildman, you'll see stuff from us and then a bunch of buff gay dudes that work out.
Nice.
I kept scrolling like, that's fuck yeah, dude, keep working out.
Well, they get the gay part right, not the buff, but I mean, they're close enough.
Yeah, they messaged us like, so if you want to use the #Wildman, we see you guys are pretty gay, but where's the muscles at? It's like, we're getting there, dude.
We're fucking trying.
It's only March, man.
Yeah,
my New Year's fucking resolution just started. Just started, guy.
We're trying, man. Andrew's ahead of all of us, but we're trying.
So this guy walks in, and instantly she's like, okay, I see his physique. I know he's got a Total Gym at home.
Oh, yeah.
And now we have a new person in the case. This man that walked in, he is a 27-year-old detective by the name of Scott Hornoff.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Holy shit.
He's not only a detective at the Warwick Police Department, but he is also the newly minted leader of the Forces Dive Team. That's pretty badass. That's cool.
Force his dive just sounds like a rapey kind of thing. But yeah. Also, I can't even think of a joke about Hornoff.
Well, I have a couple. There's going to be a Hornoff and a dive joke.
Okay, cool. Because I have none. I've been trying to think of it. I don't know if I just have a block today or what.
Just don't make any jokes about Chinese medicine and poaching endangered animals.
Hornoff.
All right, that was pretty good.
Oh, speaking of Chinese, even though it's not Chinese at all, I am happy to see that Dennis Rodman couldn't get the job done in North Korea.
Yeah.
So we sent over Trump. And so at this rate, just based on the people they've been sending, there's a good chance we might go next. Because
we just do a live podcast.
It seems like they're just sending the biggest fucking idiots they can find. So I'm pretty sure we're up next.
Oh.
Like Rodman couldn't do it. Trump couldn't do it. Tim, Spence, Kev, Toof, Andrew.
Get the brothers.
Get the fucking brothers.
Yeah. At least we know Andrew won't come.
We're like the actually Expendables.
Holy shit. That's true. That is us.
So Vicky, she immediately sees Scott and immediately forgets about her heartbreak and decides to go over and introduce herself to him, asking him if he needs any help or anything like that. But hold the frickin' phone here, Primo. One thing that Vicky notices.
What?
Scott is wearing a wedding ring.
Ah, shit.
And people that knew Vicky claim that, well, she didn't really seem bothered by that at all. Like, she didn't really care if someone was married or not.
That's nothing.
So, yes, even though Scott was wearing a wedding ring, Vicky, she really didn't seem to care. Because much like Baxter Kane in basketball, when he sees something he wants, he gets it. Remember when he has Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Yeah. So good.
So hook, line, and stinker. She sees Scott, gets a little taste of Scott, and now she wants him full time, baby.
Oh, shit.
Full time.
And one day later, the police, they get a call from a woman claiming to have problems with her boyfriend. And during the call, she specifically asked Detective Scott Hornoff to come over and help.
Oh, Jesus.
So hashtag wild woman. I can respect that game.
Yeah, I mean, that is a pretty good.
You know?
Yeah.
It's a little on the nutty side. But
it's a little on the Mel Hall side. But, I mean, it's not as bad when it's a girl and at least he's overage.
I mean, yeah. So a little on the nutty side, which means the sex is going to be super good.
Yeah.
And so Scott, he shows up at her house to follow up with the call. Vicky opens the door and tells him that her ex was calling and she told him that it was over, yada, yada, yada. And then she seduces the fuck out of Scott. But he's not having it. He's like, hey. He's like Mr. Belding. Hey. What is going on here? He pulls a Mr. Belding.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And then he says, anything you say can and will be held against you. And that's when she whispered in his ear, Officer Scott Hornoff.
Oh.
And then it was straight to the bone zone. Because he said, anything you say will be held against you. She said his name. And then he held himself against her.
Oh, fuck yeah. And then it was horn on.
Yeah, it's true. That was actually going to be my next joke. Was actually Officer Scott Hornoff, more like Officer Scott Hornyoff. And that quickly led to Officer Scott Pants Off. And then he replied, I'm the leader of the Forces dive team. The Forces Muff dive team, that is.
Oh, fuck yes.
And that's when she said, yeah? Well, then you're going to need this. And she throws a wetsuit at him. Okay, so I made the last 20, 30 seconds I did make up.
All incredibly real.
But she does seduce him, and he fights it off for a little bit. He doesn't, fight or anything, but he says no, and then eventually gives in, and they start banging.
Nice.
So, all fun and games aside, though, not only was this completely unprofessional on Scott's part, but he cheated on his wife, and now he is having an affair, and he's doing the nasty with this girl.
Who does the nasty? I mean,
it's like you just met this girl, and you're getting all nasty.
Getting all nasty. I mean, we don't even know what that fucking shit is.
Dude, do you guys remember Tom Cruise when he was giving that interview on the red carpet, and that guy had a prank where he had a flower or a pen that squirted water in his face? He's like, "Whoa. What are you doing? I'm here giving you an interview, and you're getting all nasty with me." What's the?
I've never seen that.
He says something else. He's like, "You're a jerk." Okay, where were we? Well, I guess this is a good time to mention that Scott, yes, he is married, and he is also a father. He has a 7-month-old kid at home.
Oh, shit.
So, Scott, what is you doing, boy? This is not hashtag Wildman material.
It isn't.
Come on, guys. It's just him versus the world.
Oh, yeah.
That is
Scott
true.
Pilgrim.
Hashtag wild jerk. As Tom Cruise would say, you're a jerk. So that's pretty shitty. He's married to a tall blonde girl named Rhonda, and she sounds like she was a pretty nice girl, and she was pretty attractive, they said. And being the wife of a police officer or somebody in the military, like, that's not a very easy thing to do.
No, not at all.
Like, you got to put up with a lot of stuff, and then just the fact that he's cheating on her, that sucks. So, Team Rhonda right now, right?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll see if that changes.
Uh-oh.
And because of the schedule that Scott is working as an officer, he and Rhonda, they spend less and less time together, and their relationship starts to weaken. But he can't help it. He can't stop tapping that scuba girl's sweet, round, wet ass.
Oh, shit.
I shouldn't have said that, probably.
Leave it in.
Dude, I remember one time I was playing Words at Friends with Mark, and my first word I used was scuba. And he texted me. He's like, dude, what the fuck was that? Scuba's not a real word. I was like, I don't know, dude. I'm sorry, dude.
Mr. Matthews, what does the acronym SCUBA stand for? Duba? Scuba Duba.
So Scott, he tried to fight his feelings for the first couple weeks, but that was all the longer he could withstand that sweet sexual scuba girl. He went back and fucked her like 2 weeks after their first fling.
Oh, yeah.
And at work, Vicky, she's telling her coworkers and friends that she's having an affair with Scott the cop, and they're like, "Yo, he's married. What is you doing, girl?" And she's like, "Well, I don't care. I don't even care." And for a bit, she's pretty happy.
They're like, I wish my mom would have got me some bling bling. Girl, please.
So yeah, she's pretty happy. That is, until her ex-boyfriend Todd Barry comes running in so quickly, she didn't even see him come in at first because he's the Flash.
Fucking Flash.
But he comes into the scuba shop to see Vicky, and she is ecstatic to let him know that she is currently dating someone, and he's an officer. So that felt pretty good for her to say, like being like, yeah, well, you didn't want me a little bit ago. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
You rejected me, and now I'm dating a fucking police officer.
That's what you get.
So he ran back out of there so fucking quickly. But soon after this, Scott, he goes to Vicky's house and he tells her that this has to stop. Like, I made a mistake and I need to fix things with my wife. I have a family. I'm sorry. This isn't going to work out. And Vicky, she's like, oh, that's fine. Like, I understand. If you ever change your mind, you know where I am. You know where to find me. And so he's thinking like, wow, she took that way better than I thought she was. That was actually pretty easy.
Yeah.
But she was a bit of an actress.
Oh, shit.
I like the people that are like, can you believe this shit? I searched on Google the top 100 actors and not a single woman. It's like, yeah, because you didn't use the word actress, you fucking idiot.
Actors.
Yeah. She's like, I see fucking Bill Cosby is still up there.
Oh, yeah.
No, he's not.
I mean, he should be.
He should, yeah, for his role in Jack.
Well, yeah, Jack.
He was good in Jack.
Jack and Ghost Dad.
I remember, no, that's going to be a Bernie Mac joke. So Vicky, she's like smiling, saying, well, it's okay, I understand, but I'm here if you ever change your mind. Scott, he walks away, and Vicky's smile soon faded because she was far from accepting that this relationship was over. And it was August 10th, 1989, the day after Scott had officially ended the affair with Vicky. He and his wife, Rhonda, they were at a fellow police officer's party, keeping up appearances and showing everyone that they were doing well, like relationship-wise. Like they wanted to show people that, they're doing fine.
Yeah.
So Scott, he is super eager to try and move past this affair, and he wants his life to return to normal, and he wants to pretend like the thing with him and Vicky had never happened.
Yeah.
However, at this party, Scott, he has a little too much to drink, trying to drown the memories of that sweet scuba girl. And Rhonda is now like, what the fuck, Scott? You're out of control. You're drinking. You're being obnoxious.
Come on, Scott.
Can we please go home? And he said, no, I'm not going home. You don't know how to fucking party, you dweeb. You fucking dork. No, he didn't say that, but he's like, no, I'm not going home. He's like, you can go home if you want to, but I'm staying here.
Yeah, I actually only told her she didn't know how to party, and then like he saw me walk in, he's like, you fucking dweeb, you fucking dork.
You fucking dork.
And then I went home crying.
And then right before you walked out, you're like, animals rule. Treadwell. Oh, Timothy Treadwell.
Oh, such a Kurt Cobain looking fucker.
So Scott and Rhonda, they get into this big argument at the party, and he starts like acting out and yelling at her, so she leaves and goes home. And now Scott, he's currently at the party, stuck there for a little bit, and he's drunk. And then he tells the party that he's going to leave and head home now.
Yeah.
The next morning, August 11th.
Oh, that's a bad move. You never want to split the party.
Oh, fuck yes, Spence. Never split the party. Never. And the next morning, August 11th, Vicky, she's late for work at the scuba shop.
Uh-oh, Vicky.
And this is highly unlike her. Like, she's always early to work. So her coworkers, they know that something isn't right here.
Oh, shit, something wasn't right. Whoops.
So one of her coworkers drives over to her apartment so she can check in on her, or he can check in on her. I don't know if it's a male or female. And that's when they find that the door to her apartment is ajar, which some sources say her apartment door is ajar. Some say it was just closed and fine, which I'm guessing it was closed when we talk a little bit later why.
Okay.
So right now we're going to leave it at ajar or closed. But yeah, so she goes inside and sees that Vicky's body was slumped on the floor of the living room. Blood that had gushed out of her head and was soaking into a huge puddle on the floor.
Jesus.
And next to her was a bloody fire extinguisher and also a jewelry box.
Holy shit.
Both of which were used to bludgeon her to death.
Wait, a fucking jewelry box?
Jewelry box and like a 20-pound fire extinguisher.
I mean, I understand that the fire extinguisher. Who picks up a fucking jewelry box to hit somebody?
Someone angry with rage, man.
Which somebody who was really drunk.
And at only 29 years old, Vicky Cushman was brutally murdered in her own apartment. And there were a few other clues that were found in the apartment. Rubber gloves that were turned inside out, like much like the gloves, like kitchen gloves, like Dexter's mom gloves.
So if you're like taking them off.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the killer, he or she wore the gloves to hide their fingerprints. And also the person that killed Vicky didn't use the front door. They actually scaled the house and climbed in through a window on the second floor because the second floor window was open, and I think they saw tracks. So that's why I don't know if the door was actually left open or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, these gloves, they were inside out because whenever you take them off,
couldn't you still get something from that?
You would think. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
And while the police were searching the rest of the apartment, they found a letter on her desk that was written on August 10th after the breakup, and it had Scott's name on it. And this is the police the police that he's part of that are searching, but he's not there. He's working like a second shift this day. And the letter, it's pretty much her pouring her heart out to him and saying how she didn't want the relationship to be over, and she's like, I believe in you, and I know you don't want this to end either. And here's one of the exact quotes from it. My day doesn't feel complete until I see you. I'm hooked on you. So it's just about how much she loves this guy.
Yeah.
And now the police are like, well, this clearly points to one of our own detectives, Scott, and this is a pretty good motive and evidence as to who could have done this. And later that day when Scott came into work, the captain, he called for him to come in to speak with him, and then he closes the door so that they're all alone. And then he tells Scott that he's going to be tape recording this conversation. And he's like, okay, like why? What's this about? He has no idea what this is about. And the captain tells Scott that a local Warwick woman by the name of Vicky Cushman had been murdered. And he's like, do you happen to know a Miss Vicky Cushman? He mentions, well, yeah, I know her only because I've been to that dive shop, but that's about it. So like he's trying to downplay it some. But then they bring out the letter, and they're like, don't lie to us. We know that you were having an affair with her. We have this letter right here. And so Scott, he comes clean. He admits to having an affair with her, and he said he ended the relationship with her on the 10th, which was the day before.
Yeah.
And so then he's asked, well, where were you last night? And he tells him, I was at the party that one of the police officers was having. He's like, everyone there can vouch for me. My wife left before I did, but she can vouch for me being there and then being home later with her as well. And when asked if he killed Vicky, he swears that he didn't, and he continues to deny it anytime they ask him. He just says, yeah, I knew who she was. We were having an affair, but I didn't attack her. I didn't kill her or anything. And this right here, this is from an interview with Scott from the website caught.net. And this is where he says, I told one lie, and that was to Warwick Police Detective Captain Ronald Carter and Detective Lieutenant Edward Johnson early in their taped interrogation of me. Though they claim otherwise, I freely admitted to knowing Vicky. In fact, just minutes before I went into Captain Carter's office, I had admitted as much to Detective Mike Babula. When asked if Vicky and I had an intimate relationship, I told Carter and Johnson no. I lied because they were tape recording my interrogation, and if my wife was to find out, it was going to be me telling her, and not by their playing the tape. Of course, I didn't know that they would later lose the tape or tape over it, and then deny the interrogation was ever taped.
Holy shit.
I also didn't know that detectives Richard Santos and Kevin Collins were, at the same time, at my home and lying to Rhonda, telling her that I was involved in an altercation at the FOP and that they were investigating it. But that was my one and only lie, and within an hour I owned up to it. I requested a polygraph test, and I admitted in the preliminary interview with polygraph examiner Warwick Detective Sergeant Ed Pierce that I had been intimate with Vicky, and I explained to him why I had denied it at first.
Wow.
So yeah, he denies it. Like, he lies at first, which, I mean, that's pretty shitty, but yeah, he lies at
still
first.
kind of understandable.
Then he owns up to it, and then he takes a polygraph test, and he passes. So he immediately thinks that on day one that he's all in the clear and exonerated from being a suspect, and they pretty much act like, okay, well, you know, you passed the test, we heard your side, that's fine. But what the investigation didn't like, however, was that the clues at the scene, they didn't really lead to anyone else except for Scott, because they had the girl he was having an affair with being murdered, and then a letter that she just wrote to him explaining her love for him and about how she wanted him to be with her and not his wife. Just the fact that letter is there. That
doesn't make somebody a killer. I mean,
no, it doesn't.
At first I was thinking, but then now, no, I really don't think it was him.
Yeah, there's really not a lot of evidence that points to him, but the little bit of evidence they have, like such as motive in that letter, only points to him.
Those are the only two things. I mean, it's like a fucking random guy could have like broken and done it easily.
Yeah, that's true. So the detectives, they are still thinking about that, and plus they're like, well, he was having a secret affair while having a wife and a baby at home. So it seems like a pretty dickhead move and a pretty jerk thing to do.
Oh,
and
it still definitely is, yeah.
And then to them, another shitty thing was that whenever he was confronted about it, he initially tried to lie about it, even though he did come clean about the affair almost immediately, but still that didn't settle well for the detectives. And for the next 3 years, Scott continued to work at the station as an officer, just not really thinking anymore about being a suspect.
Absolutely.
He had no idea that he was still a suspect. And he had no idea that he was still under investigation, and that the entire police force were being questioned in regards to him as well. And they were given strict order to not let Scott know that anyone was investigating him still, or that they were all being questioned about him. And Scott had no clue that any of this was going on. So for the next 3 years, everyone that he is working with is under the impression that he did it.
That's
like that he's the main suspect in this case. And so they're always being interviewed and questioned.
Yeah.
And Scott has like no idea that he is like the main suspect at all, because he was only questioned day one and he thought that was it. And that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So after 2 to 3 years of almost no progress, we are now in May of 1992, and this is when Scott finally learns that the state was now taking control of the investigation into him, and still, Scott continued to work at the police station. And he was pretty frustrated that the case hadn't been solved yet, but he had no idea who did it, he said, and he had no idea why they were looking into him now, because now he's starting to get word that, like, hey, they're looking into you. But no one told him for like the longest time, so he has no idea why he's still a suspect, because as far as he knows, he was cleared. And every week, Vicky's dad would come into the station to see if there were any new leads or any new information, and each time he came in, the detectives, they would argue over who had to go out into the lobby and convince him to leave.
Holy shit.
So that poor guy.
Yeah, Jesus.
That sucks.
Yeah.
And every week he would tell him, like, hey, make sure that you don't forget about my daughter.
Holy fucking shit,
so
dude.
That's sad as fuck.
That's
Poor
awful,
guy.
Man. Hashtag Wildman to him.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And then when Scott finds out that he is the prime suspect in the case, it's not because the detectives told him or because other officers told him. The way he found out was when the media showed up to his house one day, and they're like, yo, Scott, what's it like being named the prime suspect in the murder case of Vicky Cushman? That's how he found out.
Wow.
So some of the detectives or officers, someone had to tell the media, and they found out before he did.
Jesus.
But it's kind of impressive though that the entire police force were actually able to hold out on telling him. Like, I figured someone would have cracked or something. Like, that's kind of impressive actually. And later on, when asked about that in an interview, Scott said that the reason nobody told him that he was a suspect again was because the officers were all threatened that they would lose their job if they told him.
But who was threatening them? Like,
The higher up said, like, you'll ruin this investigation if you tell them, so they threatened their jobs.
'cause I feel like he, like, as a detective, is pretty high up. So it'd have to be like, you know,
Yeah, but he's not as high as the Illuminati.
That's
true.
true. Yeah, this is true.
That is very true.
It was definitely the Illuminati. Yeah.
Jay-Z and LeBron had something to do with it.
Well, yeah, and Beyonce.
I hate Beyonce, dude.
I'm not a fan. I mean, I'm not a fan of Jay-Z either. I mean, I love LeBron.
Jay-Z has some weird lips.
Yeah.
So even after all of this, Scott continues to work there, and now he is constantly wondering, like, who he can trust, what his partners and other officers are telling the state. Like, it was completely stressful and frustrating. So he's still working there, and he'll be, like, investigating something with a partner and just the whole time wondering, like, okay, what's this guy telling the state about me? What's he using against me?
Yeah.
So he couldn't trust anyone, and he's still the only person that anyone actually believes could have possibly killed this girl.
DTA, man. Don't trust anyone. There's an old wrestling thing. I don't know if you remember.
God,
used to be DTA, don't trust Austin, or don't trust anyone. That was a long time ago. That's like Vince and Austin's feud back then.
And after looking at the crime scene again and noticing new clues, now they believe that the killer had staged a break-in through the second floor window. So that is where they initially thought he came in through because it was open and there were tracks. But now they're starting to believe that that was actually staged because nothing was actually taken. So they believe that whomever this killer was, they must have been inside the house on their own, and then after committing the murder, possibly faked a break-in. And with that, added to the gloves that were found on the scene that were worn by the killer, this also leads them to believe that Scott was the one responsible for the murder. Because they're like, well, he's a detective. He would know how to cover up a scene. He would know how to cover up his fingerprints. So that's why he wore those gloves. And then if he was having sex with this girl, he would be in the house easily.
I mean, okay, him getting in the house easily makes sense, but I feel like if you're going to kill somebody, a lot of people would think to wear gloves.
Yeah, I don't know why you would leave them either.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. I don't think the detective would have left them. Yeah,
I don't know. So things are not looking all that great for Scott now. The police, they tracked the steps that Scott took on the night of August 10th in 1989, where he and Rhonda were at the police party. Then the two got into an argument, and they both left separately, Rhonda leaving the party first. And then Scott, he would end up leaving the party. And the time that he left the party coincides with the time of death for Vicky as well. Even though it is a pretty big gap, they believe she was murdered between 9 p.m. and 3:30 a.m. that night.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah,
which is a big gap.
Yeah.
And Rhonda, she was even looked at as a possible suspect, like maybe she has something to do with it or assisted him. And in 1989, she was asked a few questions about the party and her timeline for that night. And she stated that she left the party around 10 p.m., and then Scott left around 11 p.m., and then she said that they both stayed home for the rest of the night. So they're like, okay, well, she's either telling us the truth or she's covering up something.
Yeah.
However, one of Scott's friends that was at that party, he had a minor different detail. Like, he agreed about the time Scott and Rhonda left, stating that, Rhonda left probably around 10, Scott left around 11 or so. However, he says Scott came back to the party around 1 or 2 a.m., and according to his friends, they said he came back looking like he was a completely different person. He had a blank, empty look on his face, and when he came back to the party, like, hey, what are you doing back here? You've been gone for a couple hours. He's like, oh, I forgot some audio tapes here I had to pick up. So that makes absolutely no fucking sense.
No, not at all.
His wife said that he was home all night, but this party, which is a party of police officers and then friends, there's a bunch of them there. Yeah. Like, no, he came back at like 1 or 2 a.m. for a while. And he doesn't even really have a solid alibi now for where he was that night during the murder, because he and his wife say one thing, his friends say another, and that just doesn't really make sense why you would come back to a party 3 hours later saying you forgot audio tapes.
Audio tapes for what?
I don't know. All I could think, that just made me think of American Psycho. But I gotta return some videotapes.
You do, I love American Psycho.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. None of that made sense to me, but that's his alibi that night when he's interviewed.
It's time to break the cycle of waste and mess. Time to stop accepting that the way things have been done are the way they should be done. Control-Alt-Delete everything you thought you knew about how to period. We're flipping the script, we're throwing out the book, we're challenging the period status quo. The Diva Cup is eco-friendly, reusable, and offers up to 12 hours leak-free protection. So what are you waiting for? Join the inner revolution with the Diva Cup. The Diva Cup is used for menstrual flow only. Always read and follow the user guide.
And then 4 months later, Scott, he was arrested and charged with first-degree murder.
Oh, shit.
And on May 15th, 1996, Scott, he would plead not guilty at the Rhode Island Supreme Court. And the prosecution, they claimed that Scott, he had murdered Vicky because he was afraid that she was going to tell his wife about their affair. And the defense was like, there's no physical evidence linking Scott to that murder, though.
Yeah.
But after 6 weeks, he was found guilty of first-degree murder. And he would continue to plead his innocence, saying, like, you got the wrong guy, I didn't do it. And he is then sentenced to serve the rest of his life in prison. So that was his sentence. He got life in prison.
Dude, it would fucking suck so bad to be a detective and be sentenced to life in prison.
Fuck yeah, dude.
If you put any of them in there, you're fucked.
Yeah, we'll talk about it, what it was like in prison for him.
Oh, okay.
But as soon as the verdict was read, and they're like, we find him guilty, he took off his wedding ring and he gave it to his wife, and he said, quote, just because my life was ending, I didn't want hers to have to end as well. And then right then and there, he asked her for a divorce so that her life wouldn't be completely over and that so she could continue on living.
See, I feel like that was super nice.
So, yeah, he takes his ring off. He's like, we need to get divorced so that you can continue your life.
Wow.
And at the time of his sentencing, he was now the father of 2 children, and Rhonda was 4 months pregnant at this time as well.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
Bunch of Scott's tots there.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to pay for their fucking college graduation either.
Or even laptop batteries.
Oh, that's right.
And Scott, he was placed in a special division of the prison, which housed ex-cops, child molesters, and politicians.
That was a nice one.
So anyone that would need this extra protection, and pretty much they were afraid he was going to get murdered or get the shit beat out of him, he was placed in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that sucks, man, because you're definitely a target.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And Scott, during his trial, he's like, no, I felt confident the whole time that I'd be found not guilty. He's like, I even had other police officers that were coming to the trial that were like, dude, there's no real evidence against you. They have nothing. So the whole time, I really just thought I was going to be found not guilty and it'd be over. And this part is his kind of fucked up. Scott, he was denying that he was guilty, and he would plead his case anytime he could. And while in prison, sometimes his family and kids, they would come visit him. And he said this was like the hardest part because he knew that he was going to be stuck in here.
Oh, yeah.
And it just hurt to see his family like that, and the fact that he's not with his wife anymore, and his kids are kind of getting distant now.
Yeah, he doesn't get to see him grow or anything.
And whenever they're there, he's like, you know, I'm eventually going to get out because I'm innocent. I didn't do this. And he would try to keep his kids positive about this whole thing. Well, his psychologist told him, he's like, yeah, you probably should like no longer tell your kids that you're innocent. He's like, that's really not good for them to keep hearing that. So even this psychologist, which I think was like a divorce psychologist, I'm not really sure.
Okay, so not.
But it's like, that's pretty fucked up, man.
They didn't even fucking agree with him.
Yeah, it's like, hey.
They're like, you did it, asshole.
It's like, don't worry, kids. I didn't do this. We're going to get out of here. We'll be a happy family again. And the psychologist leans over. He's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't fucking tell him that horse shit, dude. You're going to be in here a long time.
He leans over to the kid. He's like, that fucking dude, he fucking did it, guys.
Yeah, he's like, hey, Scott's kids, come here. Scott's like, I'm right here sitting next to you. You have to talk to him through the glass. He's like, your dad, like, I know he said he's getting out. He's not. Also, he's pretty gay.
Oh, wait. Oh, so they were talking about me again. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys.
And during the next few years, Scott's brother, that is also a police officer, he's gathering up evidence and as much information as he can to try and prove Scott's innocence. Like, they found footprints in the carpet of Vicky's apartment, and they didn't think it matched Scott's foot size.
Yeah.
So Scott, while in prison, he rolled ink on his feet so that he could get his footprint and then get that sent out so it could be examined, and they could check his shoe size, his foot size, all that.
Yeah.
And it would later prove that his size wasn't the size of the print found in the apartment. Scott's shoe size was 10, and the print in the apartment was around 13. So this was sent to a footprint analyzer expert guy in Chicago.
Nice.
I don't know what the exact term is, but I put footprint analyzer expert guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I strive to be. What he went to college for.
That's his fetish.
So he's like, well, we got this. This is some evidence that could help out. And also, while he's in jail, at the same time of him being in there was a 15-year-old serial killer that had killed a mother and her 2 daughters. He's not 15 at this time, but when he was 15, he did this.
Same one you were just talking about?
Oh, shit. I didn't even connect it. I wonder if it is.
Holy shit, yeah, because you were just talking about, like, I feel like there's not too many.
And you know what, though? This guy killed a mother and her 2 daughters.
Yeah,
Isn't that what that dude did?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that's him. It might be.
Yeah, because there can't be too many 15-year-old serial killers that do
Yeah.
that same thing, yeah.
Well, I'll have to see how that...
Price guy?
Yeah, I'll have to
Yeah.
check and see how that guy got captured.
David Price?
Price.
Pitcher
The
for...
pitcher.
Yeah, same Boston Red Sox pitcher.
So this serial killer, he killed a mother and her 2 daughters, and this murder happened 2 weeks before Vicky's murder. Well, this guy, he was bragging about how he also killed Vicky, and he was in the cell that was right above Scott's. So through the air vents, Scott could hear this guy talking and being like, yeah, I killed Vicky and all this other stuff. So he's like, well, fuck, man. He's like, we got that guy right there saying that he killed her. And 3 inmates, they would come forward to try and help Scott out, saying like, hey, we heard this guy admitted to killing her. So even with that admittance and the footprint expert, his new trial was denied.
Well, because they killed the guy that, like, heard it. They shot him.
Yeah, they called him out there. He had some sweet slicked back hair, though.
He got to have one last cigarette with the warden. And warden stepped inside, and then they fucking shot him.
God, dude, it's such a good movie.
Shawshank's
Shawshank, dude.
shit, dude. I love that movie.
So he's like, well, fuck, but he's still trying to stay positive. So we wrote out to the Innocence Project to try and get them, be like, hey, there's DNA on the scene. Can we analyze that and try to help prove that, like, I didn't do this murder? And 2 members of the New England Innocence Project took his case. They focused on the glove that was found on the scene, because the glove was found turned inside out. On the outside of the glove, there was blood, which is most likely Vicky's. And on the inside of the glove, there was a small piece of ace bandage with blood on it, which they believe, whoever that killer is, that probably belonged to him. I mean, it wasn't...
Why the fuck leave that there? Jesus Christ.
Like, it wasn't a whole lot of blood, but it was enough, you would think.
Oh, yeah.
So it was tested, and the results were inconclusive. Imagine how fucked the up and down roller coaster of all this shit.
How is that inconclusive?
So during these years, his appeals, they're just getting rejected. He's pretty much shit out of luck, but he's trying to stay positive. And then something strange happens. After spending 6 years in prison for the murder of Vicky Cushman, which this is 12... Yeah, this would be like 12 years after her actual murder.
Yeah.
And then what we're going to talk about right here, the source is from Wesleyan University magazine titled Murder Will Out.
Okay.
Bill DeVreaux, I don't know, Devereaux.
It's Willem Dafoe.
Bill DeVreaux, an attorney, he received a phone call at 7 a.m. in 2002 at the very beginning of November. And this phone call, he's like, I don't know this number. It wasn't from one of his clients. Rather, it was from a man that he had met about 7 years ago or so through a mutual friend. And he tells Bill, quote, I'm in a real bad situation and I need some legal help. It's like, okay, what is it? And he tells him his name. He's like, it's Todd Barry.
Oh, shit.
I've got to come forward and confess to a homicide I committed 14 years ago. Oh, so it was 14 years ago. Barry was asking DeVreaux to represent him when he turned himself in. He's like, Todd, what are you talking about? You know that Vicky Cushman case, the one where the Warwick cop is serving time? He's like, yeah, that rings a bell. Well, the cop didn't do it, I did.
Holy shit.
So what a fucking twist. The ex-boyfriend that the police never even looked into turned out to be the one that murdered her.
I kind of forgot about him because I was thinking it was gonna end up being Rhonda.
And the thing is she had a Rolodex on her desk with all of his information in it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And they never once even questioned this dude.
Wow.
So Bill said in regards to Todd's confession, quote, here is a case of a guy who had literally gotten away with murder. And he's telling me, I committed this homicide and I have to come forward. You know in your heart that he's doing the right thing, but on the other hand, you have to counsel him that he has no legal obligation to come forward. You have to tell him, if you do come forward, you will spend time in prison. You may lose your young family. Do you understand all that? So he's an attorney, like he has to tell him that shit. And Barry understood and he replied, quote, I either do this or I go jump off the Narragansett Bridge. I can't live with myself any longer.
See, me, I would have probably just called and been like, hey, I did that, and then went and jumped off that bridge.
And
because that's easier than spending life in prison, honestly.
And I don't remember the exact details of this, but they asked later on in an interview or something, I don't know if Scott asked him, like, hey, what made you come forward fucking 12 years later? And he's like, he knew he was going to confess, but he was waiting for his mom to pass away.
Oh, Jesus, man. I mean,
he didn't want his mom to know.
Yeah, no offense to his mom, honestly. But you know that detective was like, dude, bitch, couldn't you have died a fucking little bit earlier?
I know, dude. Because what if Scott would have got fucking killed or something?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no offense.
He's
no
not
offense.
off the hook yet, though.
Oh, shit, okay.
So this is what Barry told Devereaux about what happened that night. He said he drank a lot of alcohol, and then also someone gave him a joint, he said, and smoking this weed affected him strangely. He remembers only flashes. He remembers driving down I-95, and for some reason that night, he said he became, like, oddly and strangely determined, like he had to go see Vicky, even though he hadn't seen her for months at this point. And he went up to her roof, and then he climbed in through her apartment through a window, although he said he couldn't remember if he tried the door or not. And he said that he woke her up, and she was calm. And their relationship, whenever they were together, like, if he would show up unannounced or late at night, it was, like, no big deal. So Barry, he wakes her up, and he's talking with her in the living room, and then she told him about Scott and how she's dating him now, even though they broke up the night before. And Barry was like, you can't do that. You can't pursue a married man. And he was getting upset. Plus, he's super drunk, and he's pretty fucked up. And then he said everything got stranger. She realized that her cat had gotten out of the open window, and she got pissed off and threatened to sue him. And so he became, like, super enraged, and so he strangled her, and then he hit her over the head with a fire extinguisher. And to this day, whenever he was asked why he did it, he said he doesn't know. He has no idea what came over him. I have no idea how that happened or why.
I feel like the
cat is the murderer, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. But I feel like the whole I'm going to sue you over the cat thing was probably a lie, though, too.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta try to save a little bit of my character. Her fucking cat got out, which is an accident. She said she's gonna sue me. I had to fucking. What would you have done?
Actually, you know what? Case closed. You're innocent, buddy.
He's like, I snuck in like I was fucking Clarissa Explains It All's neighbor through the window.
Well, as long as the music played when the ladder went up.
He's like, I woke her up so I could talk to her, like I was trying to be a gentleman. Her cat got out, and she started getting mad, and she threatened me, said she was going to sue me. I looked down at my bracelet. It said WWJD. So I hit her with the fire extinguisher. I'm just joking. No, that's fucked up. That's pretty fucked up.
Absolutely.
And he comes forward with this. Everyone is like, oh, shit. So Detective Scott, he was telling the truth like the whole time. He really didn't do it, even though that time of events couldn't have fit him for this murder like any more perfect.
Yeah.
The fact that he disappeared for a couple hours during that murder, showed up all fucked up. But yeah, whenever it came to the investigation against Scott, there were like tons of inconsistencies and violations and shit that would just seemed really wrong whenever it came to handling the crime scene. Like the police, they didn't even test any of the fucking blood drops that were on the gloves, the window, or anywhere. Like there's blood all over, blood drops everywhere. They didn't test any of that shit.
Yeah.
Cushman, she was wearing a bathrobe when she got killed. They didn't test that. They didn't look at any of the fingerprints, and they just didn't do anything. As soon as they were like, it was Scott, they just focused on him, and that was it. And we also mentioned the audio taped interview. The police, they deny that ever happened.
Yeah.
The polygraph test that he took, that he passed, that amounted to nothing. And then another quote, officers of superior rank were not allowing individual detectives to interview Scott Hornoff or his brother David. Instead, they sent the investigators to talk to a psychic. So this was pretty bizarre.
That's pretty weird.
Yeah. And then Bill, the attorney, who Todd called to confess this to, here's a quote from him where he says, I remember reading the accounts of the trial and wondering, how are they ever going to convict this guy? I mean, where's the beef? Okay, you have a half-hearted motive, but even that's not fleshed out very well. He never read the letter. But okay, she's obsessive and she wants to continue to carry on the affair, but all of a sudden he makes a decision that he's going to kill her. It just doesn't seem to add up. I don't think the jury likes Scott Hornoff, but you don't convict people on crimes because you don't like them. And I really think that was pretty much what it was. It's just people made up their mind they didn't like him because he was having an affair, he had a kid, cheating on his wife.
Yeah, which is all bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't convict somebody of murder just because they made, some douchebag mistakes. But
yeah,
I mean.
So now we're going to go back to Scott while he's in prison on this day that this confession comes out in November 2002. So they call Scott down to speak with him to ask him some questions. And at this time, he was still awaiting like some results and hearing from the Innocence Project because he's still trying to get exonerated and all this. So he sits down. He said there's a bunch of people in there and he's a little confused. Like, why are all these? Like, I don't know if they're detectives or what.
Yeah.
But they're like, we have a few questions we'd like to ask. Do you know a Todd Berry? And he's like, no, because he's never actually met or heard of her ex-boyfriend at all. And then they tell him, well, he came forward today and he admitted to the murder of Vicky. And his name was even in Vicky's Rolodex. He was an ex-boyfriend and he was just never looked at. So that's pretty fucking lame that they didn't even look at him. But Scott's life at this point is like pretty much over. Like he spent 6 years in prison. He lost his wife, his job. He's a different person now. Like he says he doesn't trust people anymore. Like he tries to, but he just gets frustrated and he just can't get back to how he used to be. And after he gets out, he said he tried getting back into police work, but nobody would hire him, like anywhere.
He didn't even fucking do anything.
Like he tried to get hired anywhere he could. No police stations would hire him. So he's like, well, I'll achieve my master's degree and then see if that'll help. So he achieved his master's degree, and he sent out brochures to every police academy in the U.S. He asked them, like, hey, I want to come out and speak to the officers, give lectures, and let them know, like, what I went through.
Absolutely.
None of them responded back to him, except for one in Hawaii that said, no, we're not interested.
Jesus Christ.
So he can't get any work. He can't do anything with the police. So he decided to speak at schools and give lectures to school kids. And here's a quote from Scott on that. I really feel it's part of my new path to educate people who are going to be making the same decisions, such as the ones that led to my wrongful imprisonment. At the same time, I'm still trying to deprogram myself. My family and I have gone through a terrible ordeal, but I am a good dad. My boys and I have a really good time. But that's like all he had. Like people still look at him as a former murderer and convict. He does eventually get married to someone else. And he said his boys didn't have a whole lot to do with him after a while, but he's slowly building a relationship with them again.
Yeah.
And the only place that this guy could get a fucking job was training Afghan border military in Afghanistan.
Oh, my God.
But good news, though, he did end up getting $600,000 for his time spent in prison.
That's it?
To which $250,000 went to his lawyer, and the remaining went to his ex-wife for child support. He got $0 fucking. He didn't get any money at all.
Holy
all of it went to his ex-wife and his lawyer.
Jesus Christ, dude.
And on top of all that, he has like PTSD from this whole thing.
I bet, yeah.
Because he went through a lot of shit, and who knows what all happened to him in prison, all for something he didn't do. I mean, it is shitty he had an affair and all that. Like, that's awful. But, I mean, he didn't fucking murder this girl.
What was the old guy in Shawshank? Bird? Was that his name Bird?
Red.
No, not Red. Red is
Red was here.
Red is
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, Red's Morgan Freeman. Yeah.
Who was here?
Brooks.
Brooks.
That's
yeah.
right, yeah.
That's why he doesn't do the fucking Brooks thing.
Yeah. So he's not a perfect person by any means. He had an affair and lied about it, but that's really all he did. He didn't murder anyone. He didn't need to spend 6 years in prison, and his life is completely fucked over a crime he didn't commit. And then a jury, they found that the 45-year-old Todd Berry, he was guilty of second-degree murder, and they sentenced him to 30 years in prison. Which is like,
he didn't even get as bad of a sentence.
Scott got life in prison.
Yeah.
And then this guy, he admits to this and he gets 30 years. So, all right. And nobody ever apologized to Scott either. Like the judge, the prosecutors, everyone, they all told the public, like, well, Scott was a liar and lied during the entire trial.
He lied once.
I mean, I don't expect them to admit they're wrong. Like the judge and prosecutors, no one's gonna be like, yeah, we're wrong, we fucked up.
Yeah.
But they didn't have to like fucking bury the dude to the public even after they found out they were wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know I think he lives in Georgia now. I'm not sure what all he's doing anymore. I listened to an interview with him where he was talking about all this stuff and adjusting and trying to get his life back. So I mean, it sounds like he's doing well now, so that's good. But that's pretty, that's shitty. That's pretty fucked up.
Stole 6 years of his life, stole his fucking marriage.
No, yeah.
I mean, well, okay, I guess his marriage. He
fucked his own marriage.
Yeah, he kind of deserved that. Yeah.
And I think he might be working with the Innocence Project now, actually.
Okay, well, that's good.
Trying to get people that were wrongfully accused, trying to get them hooked up with some money.
That's good.
God, I can't believe that. $600,000 and he gets zero.
Fuck it, yeah, it just went to her. Which
Zero
sucks, because,
money.
I mean, you would think she would have been like, you know what, no, because, like, he was cool about it, like, hey, I'll give you a divorce right now, like, when he was going to prison. I mean, yeah, that's a lot of money, like, for her to turn down, but you would think she'd be like, hey, take some of this, man. You just fucking spent 6 years in prison.
She's like, well, I mean, I'm going to keep all that money, Scott. Let's be honest. It's my money. It's my money. But, you know, I'm probably not going to eat my egg roll. I got the soup and I got the sweet and sour chicken and rice. You want egg roll? Don't you fucking touch my fortune cookie, you son of a bitch. You lost that privilege, you cheating bastard.
She's like, you know what? You helped me move the other day. Let me buy you a couple sandwiches.
Okay, so real quick, one time, not even one time, I've helped this one dude.
A lot of times.
Which I love this guy to death,
Oh,
really.
yeah,
he's a
awesome.
cool dude.
Hopefully he's not listening.
But I've helped him move like 3 or 4 times because I was the only one that had a truck at the time. We spent all day moving. He's like, yeah, man, I'll give you and Tim help me out. I'll give you each $40.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, sure, man, we'll help you. And at the end of the day, he gave us each a Burger King cheeseburger and $20 to split.
Yeah.
And we didn't even say anything. We just got my truck in dead silence. And we drove. I think we drove for like 5 minutes.
It was
in
a while.
silence.
And then we
before
started
we're like,
losing
what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Swindled.
And we bought a basketball with the money.
Yeah, that's true. So, already, anything about this case you guys want to mention before we do the closing shit?
I really thought it was going to end up being Rhonda, honestly. Like, I thought that's where it was leading. But, yeah, pretty fucked up. I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, it sucks.
I mean, honestly, I also feel very bad for the person that was murdered. I feel like she was like an afterthought for a while there.
See, I didn't know if I should title this Victoria Cushman or Scott Hornoff.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's about her murder, but it's more about Scott.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that happened, like, forever ago. And you kind of just feel bad for the guy that you spent 6 years, lost his marriage. But he kind of deserved to lose that. But maybe not all.
I mean, he fucked up. The family life, he fucked up on his own.
Yeah.
Moral of the story, don't cheat on your wife or you'll get framed for murder.
I guess.
I mean, I think it's written in the Bible somewhere.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's scientific fact if you ask certain people.
And also, let me open up the Bible right now to read a page from it real quick. XFL rules.
Hey, you're welcome, Vince.
Hey, did you see Johnny Manziel got cut from his Canadian Football League team?
Fuck yes, dude.
To the surprise of no one. I saw one of his teammates said something in an interview like, yeah, he wasn't showing up to practice. I had to go over to get him, see what was wrong, and he was just playing video games. Hashtag Wildman, baby.
For sure, hashtag Wildman. But, yeah, crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's a fucked up case.
So before Spence does our closing stuff, I do have a little Patreon shout out to do. So with our Patreon, if you sign up, it's $1 or $5 a month. The only difference is, like, you get all the same shit, but with $5, you get a shout out. And it's just a way for you guys to support us. It means a lot to us. Like, we try to record bonus episodes every week now, and I'll mail you some stickers and all that fun stuff. But, yeah, we have Liz on Patreon.
Hell yeah.
So thank you so much for supporting us.
Liz.
I don't know what her full name was. If you hear this, send us a message. I'll give you another one. Use your full name if you want.
Yeah.
And then also Haley Porter.
It might be Lizard.
Could be Lizard.
Lizard.
Edward Lizard.
I whipped out my lizard.
And then Haley Porter, she upgraded from 1 to 2. It's still a jump. So
you're giving us way too much money.
I know.
Like, Jesus,
we should
suck.
be giving you money, Haley Porter.
Come on, Haley.
I'm not going to crack my stupid joke I did last time where it was fucking crickets and dead silence.
What was it?
Where I was like, and next up for the Christmas one, I was like, my favorite drink, Haley Porter. And it was dead silence. I was like, because of Porter. And it was just, I was like, fuck you guys, man. Whatever. You could at least fake chuckled. So already, Spence, you want to hit us that closing shit, brother?
Well, thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you all. And thank you to everyone for listening. It's because of you that this show exists. We make the podcast for people to listen to. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can check us out on social media. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and maybe even some Snapchat. I don't know. Look around. Leave us a review wherever you consume podcasts, especially on the iTunes store. We look for visibility. Those 5-star reviews, give us one of those. We might even mention your name. Might even read it out loud if you write something funny. Send us an email, brotherscommonplace@gmail.com, or message us on any of those other social media accounts. And as Kevin was saying, if you'd like to support us financially, you can check us out on Patreon. and get all the sweet perks from the super secret bonus content all the way to the stickers.
Stickers.
Is that about it?
I think so. And I want to give a special thank you and shout out to Tim and Spence right here. They're both pretty sick and not feeling too well. Spence is wearing a mask so he can breathe. Yeah, just thank you guys for doing this week. I know you guys aren't feeling good, but
mine's more really just the sniffles.
Yeah, yours is because we were doing that Toodalooing earlier.
That's exactly what it is, yeah.
And I think Spence on top of that was also drinking some Faygo.
Yeah. So. When we're done with this, I'm going to go pick up some people on their first date and find somebody to murder.
In the car.
I just can't wait.
I had a little Faygo left over after filling up my fire truck.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone that has left us reviews on iTunes. It really helps us out and means a lot to us. We have a goal this year to try to crack the top 200 in comedy. It'll probably never, ever happen, but we're going to try our best.
It's going to happen tomorrow.
And you guys have been leaving a lot of reviews for us lately. That's been super cool. I haven't checked. They could all be negative reviews. So I don't know. I don't check those. I just see the numbers we get.
We can only hope.
So, but yeah, for real, that's been super awesome. If you enjoy the show, leave us one. If you think you might have some friends that would enjoy the show, share it. That'd be super cool too. Yeah, we also have a Patreon, as I mentioned earlier. You can sign up. We'll send you some stickers. I'll write you a thank you letter. You'll get bonus episodes, such as we told some Tooth stories. We got some pretty funny Tooth episodes that are all about the crazy shit he's done.
Absolutely.
We told a story about my uncle that murdered a girl and then committed suicide, and I didn't even get any money out of it. I'm sorry. So, I mean, it's still a fucked up case. I mean, that was just a case.
Wow.
That was only because it's the end of the episode. I needed to bring you back in for it. So that was a fucked up joke. And yeah, we have a Threadless if you want to order shirts or anything with our logo on it or hashtag Wildman. And yeah, thank you to everyone that's been reaching out to us. We've had so many listeners send us messages lately. It's been super cool. And it's been really awesome. So thank you. And we will be at a Chicago True Crime Podcast Festival in July. Awesome. I don't know if anyone there will know who we are. We have a couple podcasts that we're friends with that we'll see, so that'll be cool. And I'm pretty sure Jess, our listener Jesse, is going to be on there. So hell yeah. Or is going to be there, I mean.
Awesome.
Alrighty.
I didn't really think of anything to say. Everything that Kev said and Spence and just you keep up the reviews. They're awesome. We love them. Any suggestions as always. I didn't really have anything, honestly. Just keep up the good work. It's awesome. We love it.
Yeah, since we don't have any two for Andrew, we don't have any words of wisdom tonight.
Yeah, I guess
unless you guys got something you want to say. Can I just say the movie Avatar fucking sucks?
I've still never seen it.
Both of them. At least M. Night Shyamalan is. I have nothing good to say.
There's nothing good to say.
Yeah, they fucking suck. They're both shitty movies.
Yeah.
I've never seen either.
Alrighty, everyone. Thank you all for listening. Be good.
Stay safe.
And laugh at the dark stuff.
Hashtag Wildman.
Hashtag Tooth.
Oh.
Hashtag Andrew.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, shit. Hashtag thank you, Mark.
Hashtag pretzels.
Hashtag animals rule. Hashtag rubber gut, super rubber gut.
It's time to break the cycle of waste and mess. Time to stop accepting that the way things have been done are the way they should be done. Control-Alt-Delete everything you thought you knew about how to period. We're flipping the script, we're throwing out the book, we're challenging the period status quo. The Diva Cup is eco-friendly, reusable, and offers up to 12 hours leak-free protection. So what are you waiting for? Join the inner revolution with the Diva Cup. The Diva Cup is used for menstrual flow only. Always read and follow the user guide. It's time to break the cycle of waste and mess. Time to stop accepting that the way things have been done are the way they should be done. Control-Alt-Delete everything you thought you knew about how to period. We're flipping the script, we're throwing out the book, we're challenging the period status quo. The Diva Cup is eco-friendly, reusable, and offers up to 12 hours leak-free protection. So what are you waiting for? Join the inner revolution with the Diva Cup. The Diva Cup is used for menstrual flow only. Always read and follow the user guide.